Hello, book lovers and English learners. Welcome to episode 30 of the podcast, Reading English. I'm Lydie Bureau. I'm an English teacher in France and also the founder of Lydie's Book Club, a book club for English learners and book lovers. In this book club, I offer live readings and live discussion workshops based on graded readers' adaptations and original books. The book club is mainly focused on female writers' work, whether they are English native speakers or not. 2 or 3 times a month, I meet with the members of the book club in a live discussion workshop by Zoom to talk about the chapters that we have read over the week. And in continuation of our last reading, It Ends With Us, this book by Colleen Hoover, an American writer, we've decided with the members of the book club that in March and April 2025, we will read the sequel of the book called It Starts With Us, written by Colleen Hoover as well. The novel was published in 2022 after the huge success of It Ends With Us. So we're going to read this book in its original text, which means that you need a strong B2 or a C1 advanced level in English to be able to enjoy this book. And if you're not familiar with the book or the sequel or Colleen Hoover, well, let me tell you more about her. So I'm going to share my screen now for you to enjoy the presentation and better understand her work. Right, so I needs a little bit of time to get set up. Right, so if I'm looking on the side, it's because I've got my notes here. So I will not be looking straight into the camera for that, for the rest of the presentation. Sorry about that. So it's only an annoyance, maybe. I don't know if you're watching this podcast as a video. If you're just listening to it on Spotify, then it doesn't matter. Right, so Colleen Hoover was born on the 11th of December 1979 in Sulphur Spring in Texas. She grew up in Texas and graduated from the Texas University in social work. She married her husband, Heath Hoover, when she was 21, and they have 3 sons now. So she's an American author who writes primarily romance and young adult fictions. She is best known for her romance novel, It Ends With Us, published in 2016, which was our last read, as I mentioned earlier, in the book club. Many of her early works were self-published before she got the attention of a publishing house in 2012. She self-published her debut novel, Slammed, and decided here, oops, and she decided to upload the novel on Amazon as an ebook because her grandmother had just got an Amazon Kindle for her birthday or for Christmas, and this way she could read the book on the Kindle. After a few months, the book became a commercial success, which soon after was followed by a sequel book, Point of Retreat, this book, in the same year. Both books hit the New York Times bestseller list. So it was a very busy year for Colleen Hoover. because at the end of that same year, 2012, sorry, 2012, she self-published a new novella called Hopeless, and instantly the book reached number one on the New York Times bestseller list. And after that, she published several other novellas that have now been turned into novels, such as the Hopeless series and also the Maybe Someday. So, um, a novella, if you're not familiar with the this literary term, it's basically a book that is between the short story in terms of length, between a short story and a novel. So it's roughly around 90 pages. So it's really good to start with if you're not used to reading English or to read, um, it's a very good start when you want to transition maybe from maybe graphic novels if you basically didn't read before, but you feel like reading 300 pages is too much, then maybe novellas can be something that you can try. And especially if you're an English learner or if you're non-native English speaker, then starting with these kinds of books, novellas, can be very helpful and maybe help you transition towards a complete novel if it scares you a little bit. And it's usually when we read graded readers book, it's basically the same size or the same length as a graded reader book. So for example, if I'm choosing this Penguin Reader's book. This is a B2 adaptation of this novel, Homegoing, and there are about 90, 100 pages. So it's basically that size. But if you don't want to read something that has been adapted and you want to read or if you don't feel like this is the story you want to read, then if you're more into romance or dark romance, then reading novellas actually is something that can suit you, definitely. After the success of her first books, Colleen Hoover eventually got signed by a publisher called Atria Books. And she was then able to quit her job in social work to become a full-time writer. And in 2015, she published Confess, which was her first book to be adapted as a TV series by the streaming platform Amazon Prime. But it is in 2016 that Colin Hoover's fame in the literary world will take a whole new level with the publishing of It Ends With Us. The book gradually became an international success and TikTok sensation to the point of being adapted as a film in 2024. In her book, she says that she had asked permission from her mother to write the book since in the note, sorry, I want to be specific. In the note of at the end of the book, she says that she asked permission to her mother to write the book since the story is largely inspired by her relationship with her father. She wrote this book for all the women experiencing the same domestic violence, but also for all the people who don't understand why these women stay. Also, she adds that many times she wanted to change the plot line and didn't want Ryle to be the bad guy, but she knew that it wouldn't be the story she wanted to tell. And it was heartbreaking for her to make Ryle terrible. So in 2022, yes, too many twos. Colleen Hoover had six of her novels in the top 10 of the New York Times bestseller list. She has now written 24 novels, and many of them won multiple awards, such as the Utopia with a Y and A for Young Adult Con Awards in 2014 for Maybe Someday. Then she won the Goodreads Choice Awards in 2015 and 16 for her books to Confess, sorry, and It Ends With Us. So Colleen Hoover is very close to her readership community. She has loved reading and writing since she was a child. And she writes about what she feels. She says that she writes about what she feels and doesn't dwell too much on whether the readers will like it or not. And all the different genres she has explored so far have pleased her readership. She's also very close to her two sisters. Her youngest sister, who also works in the publishing industry, is always the first to read her work and designed several covers of her books. In an interview for the Today Show, she says that books are life changing. I really like that quote. And books definitely changed Colleen Hoover's life because when she was still a self-published author, she used to live in a trailer house with her husband and their sons. So they were rather poor, but she says that despite being poor, they were happy. And now she's able to live off of her writings, and she feels grateful for this privilege. And actually, since 2015, she has been able to give back to her community with the foundation of her charity bookstore called the Bookworm Box, which is also a book signing event featuring over 200 authors to raise funds for food banks and other charities across the US. So far, they have donated over $2 million to help those in need. So to her, writing is like therapy. This is what she enjoys doing, and what feeds her soul. And whether people read her books or not, she would still be writing. So now let's talk more about It Starts With Us. So after the phenomenal success of It Ends With Us on TikTok and her fans' requests to have a follow-up of Lily and Atlas's story, Colleen Hoover published in It Starts With Us finally published It Starts With Us in 2022, the sequel novel of It Starts With Us. In an interview, she says that at first she hadn't planned to write a sequel at all, but after being pushed by her fans to write a follow-up story between Lily and Atlas, she agreed to write a short story at first, a short story that eventually turned into a full-length novel. She says that without the reader's impulse, she would never have had the joy of revisiting these characters, and she is so grateful to her fans for that. And it was, as she said, a story that she had put to bed, that she didn't think that she would go back to, but in the end, she was happy that she did go back to that story and found a new thread of ideas that would eventually form a whole novel. So It Starts With Us is told from the perspective of Lily and Atlas. And this time it's not just Lily, it's also, we have also the narrator is also Atlas. So we've got two narrators this time. And it gives readers a deeper look into Atlas's past, and Lily, as he and Lily reconnect and rekindle the love that they shared as teenagers. The story picks up right where the epilogue for It Ends With Us left off, right after Lily suddenly runs into Atlas in the street, 2 years after they last spoke. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening and watching this video. I hope that it helped you get a better understanding of the novel and the context as well of the story, and the understanding better the author. And if you like this content, make sure that you like this video or share it, or subscribe to the channel. And before I leave you, I just want to let you know that from next week here, we will have 2 live readings. So the first one will be on the 11th of March at 6:30 Central European Time, and it will be only on Zoom from now on. The live reading session will only be on Zoom, and then on the first session, we will read chapter 1, 2, and 3. So 3 chapters for the first session. The chapters are rather short compared to the chapters in It Ends With Us. The book is a little bit shorter, and the chapters as well. So we will read the first 3 chapters on it's a Tuesday, and then on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central European Time, then we will read chapters 4 and 5 of the book. And for that as well, you just need to subscribe to the newsletter. And with the newsletter, you will get the link to the live readings. So make sure that you join the newsletter, and get your Zoom link for the live readings. And finally, and at the end of the live readings, I will make sure that we have keep a couple of minutes to discuss, 5 or 10 minutes to discuss the chapters that we've just read, so we can have a little bit of interaction at the end of the reading session. And then you will be able to ask any questions that you might have on the book club, or how it works, or on the novel itself. Just it will be a nice way to interact. And finally, the first live conversation workshop will be held on Saturday, the 22nd of March at 9 a.m. But once you subscribe to the newsletter, you will get an email, a weekly email, to tell you all the live events of the week. But of course, the live discussion workshop is only available for the members of the book club. If you're in the mailing list, doesn't mean the fact that if you subscribe to the newsletter doesn't mean that you're a member. So subscribing to the newsletter is just is being part of the community, though. So you have access to certain free live events, but not access to the live discussion workshop. So bear that in mind. And I would strongly suggest you to join the book club, definitely become a member so that you'll be able to develop your speaking skills much further. And you will also be able to have feedback from me to improve your English and also maybe overcome some of your fears, and you'll be able to ask any questions, whether they're related to vocabulary or grammar. I'll be there for that. And that's why it's more a personal interaction that I make it more I make it only accessible to the members of the book club. Right. So I hope you enjoyed this session and I wish you a beautiful end of the week. And well, see you next week. Bye.